Connecticut Department of Transportation faces allegations of racism. We want more information about this story. Put it up full mass. Hail of a saga. According to a recently settled lawsuit, a white Connecticut DOT supervisor told a black worker he runs the place like a prison so he will be comfortable, and called him a worthless N-word. A black worker with the Connecticut Department of Transportation has settled a lawsuit with the state that accused four, not one, four Department of Transportation supervisors of using racial slurs and denying him opportunities for training and promotion. Before I continue and give you the rest of this story, it is interesting to me that individuals who are fiscally conservative, who claim to be fiscally conservative, never say a word when racist individuals create payouts from the government. They say nothing, but they're fiscally conservative. For those who care deeply about how the taxpayer money is spent, how waste, fraud, and abuse happens. Why is it that I don't hear from you guys when racist individuals are costing taxpayer money? Just a question. Mr. Tyquon Williams first sued the DOT in a state court. This was back in 2022, alleging that he and other black employees at the agency's Milford garage were subjected to racial harassment and denied opportunities to advance. His lawsuit, obtained by Atlanta Black Star, ran parallel to legal complaints by his co-worker, Luis Ortiz, who claimed he faced retaliation for speaking out against racism that he and others experienced, including a segregated workplace, racial harassment, being denied promotions and called racial slurs, including the word that starts with SP and the N-word, the inside investigator reported. In one incident, Joe Kelly, then a DOT crew leader, was in the break room talking with employees about the department's switch from orange trucks to new white trucks. In reference to the DOT's old orange trucks and their mantra of obey the orange, meaning for drivers to slow down or for them to slow down in work zones, Kelly allegedly said, quote, "Now I'm going to get a bracelet that says obey the white," end quote. He then turned and looked at the minority workers in the room and said, quote, "What do you people have to say about that? Obey the white," end quote. In his amended complaint filed in December 2023, Williams, who held the position of maintainer 2, which involves managing materials and inventory, alleged that he requested training and interviews to advance to better paying grade 3 positions, but was denied by his white supervisors. Pasqualino, Bruno, and Kelly, who allowed white co-workers to train and apply for those jobs. Meanwhile, Williams had to perform harder job duties under more intense scrutiny than his white co-workers, he claims. Williams also alleged that Kelly referred to him and other black employees as worthless N-words, and that Bruno told him that he would, quote, run the place like a prison and make us African-American employees feel at home. Other white co-workers were allowed to refer to Williams as a lazy N-word without reprimand, the lawsuit says. So both Pasqualino and Kelly would hold meetings with only white workers to discuss and coordinate complaints against him and other African-American employees, the complaint contends. All 4 white supervisors violated his right to equal protection under the 14th Amendment and discriminated against him in violation of federal civil rights law, the complaint says. As a result, he asserts that his earning capacity is substantially impaired. He has lost and will continue to lose earnings and benefits, and will continue to suffer from humiliation, distress, and physical and emotional injuries while racking up litigation fees. So in review of state open data records, shows all defendants named in the lawsuit continued to work for Connecticut DOT and each earned over $100,000. This was in 2024, and it's inclusive of overtime. So after a settlement conference happened, March 26th, the parties decided to settle, and an order dismissing the case was issued. Any monetary award or injunctive relief for Williams is not yet known, but it's likely to be disclosed when the Connecticut legislature reviews the settlement and disperses any funds due to Williams, who continues to work for DOT at the Milford garage. Hell of a story, a lot of twists and turns, but once again, a lot of instances prior to it becoming a report. We see this often, where an individual or multiple individuals in an employment dynamic, they attempt to actually stay and work through the BS being spewed at them. But then it simply becomes intolerable and they make a complaint. Well, what happened here? According to one person, when they complained, there's immediate retaliation. You have no remedy here. You have no opportunity to progress. You have no opportunity to thrive. You leave them with no choice. You leave them with no choice. And the fact that all of these allegations can be substantiated on record, and there's still no repercussion, at least not one we can interpret at the moment, for the individuals who did this, is quite telling. We shall see what happens when they do the legislative review. Yasmin, thoughts here?
Yeah, this is interesting because I actually grew up right in this area in the next town over. And, whenever people think about Connecticut, I feel like their first thought is that it's just full of rich white people because that's Connecticut's public image around the country. But there is plenty of diversity there, especially in that area. I went to a magnet school up there, and I probably had more black and brown kids combined than I went to school with white kids. But of course, no one was thinking about that back then because it was the 90s and because I was a kid, right? So while diversity tends to curb incidents of overt racism like this, either because people are more fearful of being isolated from the community or being publicly persecuted or whatever, or just because being around different types of people tends to make you a more open-minded and more accepting individual. Even though diversity can curb a lot of these incidents, it can't be counted on to completely eliminate incidents like this one. So people are still going to be racist wherever they are, but in some places, typically in the South where I live now, it's just easier to get away with these types of incidents. So Connecticut is a blue state. It has a blue governor, 2 blue senators, but of course, not everyone in every blue state is a liberal or just not terrible. So going forward, it is going to be interesting to see how Connecticut as a state now deals with something like this, especially now that it's getting national attention.
That's right. Well said.